Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Market Movers, where we look at hotspots in the markets for today. Although we don't have many hotspots in the markets for today, it is Tuesday, November 9th, and this is live analysis for day trading. I'm Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me, Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. Before Brian and I jump into it, I do need to share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. So, not a lot of news out there today. One, we just did have PPI, and the producers' price index did come in slightly higher than it was before, creeping higher from 0.5% to 0.6%. I know we could talk about that transitory word. It's clearly not. But we were expecting this. I know that there's Powell is speaking later today, as well as some other folks that could potentially move the markets, but we're not really seeing much. The only other news out there is General Electric is going to break up into three companies. I think that's what everyone's chattering about today,
Mhm.
which is rather interesting. But the markets right now, ho hum. Nothing's really moving. I mean, the equities are opening a little bit mixed, but nothing to write home about. Foreign exchange not moving around. Commodities, the only thing we've got moving, oddly, is as we get a little bit colder here in the States, we are seeing Nat Gas, which had spiked up towards 640 per million BTUs, back down, below the 540 range. We've been seeing it trending lower over the last few days. That's about the only spot where we've got things moving. Everything else is just sort of trending sideways. So with that, Brian, I know we don't have a lot to chat about. I'm
Yeah.
going to just flip it over to you, and we can cover a couple of things. It's going to be a little bit of a
Mhm.
shorter session today.
Yeah, I mean, typically PPI is a very interesting mover, but I think at this point, I mean, the market kind of believes what it believes. I mean, the forecast was, again, higher than what it was previously. Everybody tells us, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. But the reality is inflation is here. Powell speaking later on today. It's on diversity. It's not really on any type of market measures. So it should not be a major sticking point. But pretty much across the board, I mean, currency, even currency land. I mean, there was great, and I say great, but economic sentiment looked amazing, right? Both for the overall EU and then in Germany, and there's almost no movement. Euro pound is completely flat in 24 hours. Euro dollar completely flat. Nothing. I mean, pretty much everything across the board. The dollar yen is the biggest mover. So, normally, as I said, PPI would be a big one. Now, the question is, are we waiting for the CPI tomorrow morning? Is the big question. CPI is again, transitory typically means it goes backwards. It's quite an acceleration. It's actually double what the core CPI was from last month. There's an article this morning about global inflation is set to lift higher according to PMI surveys. It's a 13-year record rise in prices. And then, again, this is global. The strongest rate is increase from the United States. And the survey monitors supplier delivery times, which provide a unique insight into the extent of which supply delays are feeding higher prices. So, I mean, everybody tells us not to worry about it, but the reality is the people that it's going to hurt the most are, basically sitting here like, you going to do anything? You going to do anything? Like, you've been saying transitory for over a year now. And remember, before it was like, oh, July, well, it'll be gone in July. And then it's like, after that, it'll be gone. And now it's after that. And, it's like, 2 months, but prices are going to stay higher for the next year. Like, so inflation is a real thing. How do we play it in the markets on a day like today where it's flat? Do I think the market will completely do nothing today? No, I think there'll be some movement. I think, again, we need to get in there. But with CPI tomorrow morning, there's a trade setup that I'm kind of eyeing. One of the things that is on my setup. Now, this is the Aussie dollar. And you may say, what does that have to do with anything? Aussie dollar gets drug around by gold. Inflation typically, again, is played over in the gold market. Right now, it's pretty much flat. And again, the cryptos are absorbing a lot of it, although they finally slowed down from their fast bump yesterday.
Yep.
Gold is up a little bit. It's up, a third of a percent. Silver, again, they are reversing a little bit. But with CPI tomorrow, again, we've really kind of bounced off. And again, I'll extend this line across so you guys can see a little bit better. But we had this down push, right? And we saw this kind of bounce off the 73 level. It came up, it touched the 50, then it came up, and now it's been respecting the 61.8. Now, pushing lower, and the reason why I like this one is with this kind of hitting lower and lower and lower. Typically in the U.S. session, we like to see a little bit more dollar strength, but it is setting up for a long opportunity tomorrow morning. If we continue to drive down today, and again, doesn't have to do it super fast, but it's got about 35 pips to go down to that level. This could be a position where we kind of, again, with an increased CPI, it could either help or hurt us as far as the Aussie goes. Because again, is it going to be more of an inflation play? Is it going to be more of a dollar play? Again, everybody's eyeing inflation, but the Fed has basically said at this point, we're not going to do anything. We're going to start tapering slowly. But again, things are at 13-year highs, 7-year highs. I mean,
and the Bank of England too, and the European Central Bank, they're all
yeah,
sort of singing the same song a little bit.
yeah. I mean, everybody except New Zealand. New Zealand, the Kiwis over there are they're like, no, we raised interest rates and it hasn't affected a single thing at all.
And they were also at the forefront of jumping all over the pandemic too, so a
yeah,
little bit more
yeah.
forward
So
thinking.
yeah, so again, it's kind of one of these things. Everybody says believe science and do this, and I don't know. There's a country that's already doing it and it's not affecting anything. And guess what? They still have the same supply delays that we have. The only difference is their inflation is already being curbed, and everybody else's is not.
Ours
So
is not. Yeah.
yeah, and again, we're leading it. I mean, everybody's like America first. America's the best. Yeah, but
We're the
inflation
best
is
at
not.
driving inflation higher.
Yeah, it's not. It's not really kind of what you want. This is not the time you want.
I gotta laugh. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah,
We're the ones paying. We're the ones who are
yeah.
paying for that. So
And again, a lot of this we know is over in the energies. Energies and food. So yeah, I mean, we know what the problem is. Thus far, we have not wanted to fix it. And again, we talk about inflation. The Aussie, here's one setup. Here's what we did yesterday. Look at this. This is oil. We had kind of a little pop up and a reset, and then it kind of brought it up. So the European session opened here. I'll make it a little bigger for you guys. European session opened here. U.S. session opened right here. Absolutely no movement whatsoever in that session.
Right? We're just
right now,
hanging in
European
there.
session opened here and basically bounced right off of that level and right back, and we're in the exact same spot. So even in the oil markets, it's kind of like the bomb hasn't dropped with lowering this inflation. So like I said, the merit badge for having the highest inflation and driving the rest of the world inflation is not really anything you want. Supposedly there's going to be again, they telegraphed it. There's potentially a speech this week from Biden about, oil and gas prices. Well,
Yeah,
it's Tuesday now. Haven't heard it yet. We're halfway through the week. When is it coming?
I know. We just gotta wait it out. So yeah, there really isn't much to talk about this morning. I mean, everything is kind
natural
of
gas.
flat.
Natural gas is the only thing.
Is the one thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's down 3% right now. It's bouncing off a level, and we talked about this level before as a downside target. We had 1, 2, and 3 touches. Number 4 blew through it. It actually made a decent rally back up and tried to get a bit higher. And then you can see it crashed through, and then it truly became the bottom at that point. And again, you could have used the old zone here, or you could have used the refined zone, this level of basing, and it wouldn't have mattered. Either one of them was a great short entry. And we mentioned it. We were looking to come back down in that 520 area. Again, 520 is a little bit of testing over in here. But overall, I think it'll really try to push and get out in that 510 range. It's a little bit late now, but remember, we do have oil inventory reports tomorrow morning. API data will come out today, so that may help kind of bring this back a little bit. They've mentioned it before. We're only one snowstorm, one power outage from $100 gas and $8 natural gas. It is getting cooler. I haven't heard much about it, and this one's pulling back again, and all the emphasis seems to be on oil and gasoline. Not so much natural gas, but I think it's kind of the same thing with like the gold and silver story. Natural gas is kind of like the evil little brother.
Right.
I think this market is like, all right, you got to be careful now. Like they're going to say something, and it's already starting to drive down again because it's going to be energies across the board. It's not just gasoline. I think this one's already starting to do its bit of a retrace. But again, I think it will have a decent area to pop. And again, if oil really starts, going higher, natural gas will be like, wait, we want to make some extra money too. So I think that's an opportunity. So this is a big mover today. And unfortunately, again, if you know the Harry Potter trade, guys, this is why it's important to have these things out on your charts. This was a level from a while ago. We took that bounce. But that's kind of it. Like I said, if you guys want to trade into the indices, drop them down. And even on a 15-minute chart, I mean, you can see we're really staying pretty much range bound. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much range bound, stuck in. I mean, none of them are really showing me much. There was our big push, and look at this, inside days. And if you look forward, the only thing that we really have of major impact is CPI tomorrow. Otherwise, there's nothing for the dollar. Thursday, absolutely nothing for the U.S. And Friday, I mean, we have the JOLTS report. Is that going to be the thing, the piece that really launches us to the new highs? I don't
So
know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Um,
meanwhile, just as a heads up to everyone, we won't be doing this Friday. We've got we had to cancel this Friday's session, but Brian and I will be back tomorrow and Thursday, and then we'll be back again on Monday. So probably a good week to cut out on Friday
yeah.
if it's gonna be
Leave
this
early.
quiet. If it's going to be this quiet. With that, if you have any questions for Nadex, please email us customerservice@nadex.com. Any questions for Brian, you can catch Brian at support@keeptradingsimple.com. What did we talk about today? Yes, the producer price index came out across the wire just a little bit ago. Prices are indeed creeping higher. Markets not reacting at all. Not much movement any place, seeing sell off a bit in Nat Gas. Remember, we've got CPI. We've got core inflation, and CPI tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
and then I know we're going to be looking at oil inventories tomorrow. So we'll probably have a little
Yeah.
bit more to talk about tomorrow. But today it's just kind of relatively quiet. And with
Yeah, we
that,
can only hope. Maybe it's
yeah,
a day to, look at your charts, look at the open, and then just go outside. Enjoy the
right
weather before it turns,
before it really
frozen
turns.
frozen tundra, right, Todd?
I don't mind with this changing of the seasons. I kind of like it sometimes. All right, with that, good luck in the markets, everyone. Brian and I will catch you again tomorrow. Thanks.